Welcome back to Wake Up America. So Amazon, the latest company to cut back on DEI, Amazon's vice president of inclusive experiences and technology, releasing an internal memo announcing that the company is making some changes to the company's representation and inclusion efforts.
But Amazon isn't the only one throwing in the towel on DEI. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, also announcing on Friday they plan to eliminate multiple programs designed to increase the hiring of diverse candidates.
Yeah, so joining us now for more is senior research analyst for the Media Research Center, Bill D'Agostino, and executive director of consumers research, Will Hild. Great to see you both this morning. Bill, I'll start with you. So it feels like each week we're seeing more and more companies drop DEI initiatives. Why do you think this is? Are companies realizing that these programs aren't necessarily working in their favor?
Well, if they're not realizing that yet, they should soon, because it's kind of axiomatically true, obviously, that DEI is going to hurt productivity at any company, right? The second you start selecting for any criterion that's not output or productivity, then output and productivity have to necessarily go down. So if they're not seeing those effects yet, if this is just a political tonal shift because they see the Trump presidency coming in soon, then they're kind of just lucking out with a proper choice. But I'm not sure that this signals a total shift away for some of these companies. For example, it was Amazon's vice president of diverse and inclusive experiences that's making this decision. So obviously there's still a lot of work to be done. But yeah, I mean, the combination of, I think, a bit of a political shift since the election and also the consumer backlashes that we've seen hurting companies like Target and, of course, Bud Light and others. I think that's kind of what's producing this.
Yeah. Hey, Will, so the left says this may get some conservative customers, but then they're saying these companies are going to lose liberal customers. Take a listen.
Changes announced by Meta today are very much a MAGA makeover, a pro-Trump makeover. And that's going to win Meta some conservative users, but it may repel some liberals. That's the same thing we've seen happen on Elon Musk's X.
So do you think that they're going to, whatever they get in conservatives, they lose in liberals?
No, I think that's nonsense. As my fellow guest just said here, DEI really selects for things that are not related to serving consumers. And so you end up with a lower quality goods and services that the corporation is trying to provide. And just in that Twitter example, even though some people, on the left wing did leave for other platforms, many of them have already come back. And Twitter X was able to save so much money by cutting all these useless DEI people that the company became profitable almost rapidly once Elon took it over. So the cost savings related to DEI and the ability to serve consumers instead of serving woke activists actually more than makes up for the small percentage of far left people who leave because there's not being catered to through DEI.
Yeah, you make a good point. And Bill, after Meta announced the end to fact checking, President Biden spoke out about the company that owns Facebook and Instagram. Take a listen.
The whole idea of walking away from fact checking, as well as not reporting anything having to do with discrimination regarding the TPS, I find to be just contrary to American justice, the way we talk about one another. Telling the truth matters.
All right, so 7 more days of that. Do you think we see more companies stray away from DEI?
Yeah, I think you're
Bill,
going to
Bill, to you first.
Oh, apologies. Yeah, I think we do, especially because of the efforts of people like Robbie Starbucks, who are on the consumer side as well, pressuring a lot of these companies to change their policies. And look, as Will mentioned, it is in their best interest. It's in their financial best interest to do this because it improves their performance.
Yeah.
I do also just want to note that entire clip of Biden that we just saw, that was 2 whole sentences. So that's kind of a rough one.
Good note. Will, just about 15 seconds to wrap it up.
Yeah, I would just say we're going to continue to see a decline because of the incoming Trump administration. But a lot of this has to do with pressure from asset managers like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, who have been forcing a lot of DEI on these companies through the shares that they hold. We work against that at Consumers Research, and I think we're going to continue to do that. But until that scaffolding is completely destroyed, DEI is here to stay. So we got to keep fighting in that direction.
The guy defending truth who said he still would have beaten Trump. Sure. Bill D'Agostino, Will Hild, thanks for joining us.